Kyle Rittenhouse, not guilty on all charges. He was up for 5 counts, and he was found not guilty by a jury of his peers. Personally, I was expecting some charges. I was expecting most of them, to be found innocent. I was expecting a couple charges, but across the board, not guilty. In America, the establishment does something, and they did it here in the judicial system. It's called putting your thumb on the scales of power. Nothing illegal, nothing that, breaks any laws or anything, but there's political powers in play, political equity, and establishment power is always functioning, okay? And it's always potent, and it's always a problem. And the judge executed what I'm talking about here by putting his thumb on the scale. From the get-go, this judge didn't let in evidence of Kyle Rittenhouse 2 weeks before he murdered 2 people and shot 3, that he said he was going to shoot looters with his AR. We have Kyle Rittenhouse on video with murderous intent, his own words, his own voice, watching looters take stuff out of a store and say, I wish I had my AR right now. I'd start firing shots, something like that. That's a case closed right there as far as intent goes, okay? But the judge didn't let that in. Once again, putting the thumb on the scale. Another thing where the thumb was on the scale, the jury wasn't sequestered. The jury got to go home every night, and, a lot of judges will hold up the jury in a hotel, keep them quarantined from other people, from outside sources, from their families and friends, and so on and so forth, right? He didn't do that this time. So there was a potential free-flowing information just flowing to these jurors from all sorts of directions. All sorts of narratives could have been hitting these people. Changing their mind. Sculpting, cultivating what should and shouldn't be. And the judge's overall attitude, for those of us who watched every day, and I watched every day, the judge had this just blatantly obvious disdain for the prosecution. And I kind of share that too. The prosecution was horrible. Those people should be fired. Those people were horrible. The closing arguments were good, were very solid, very sound. But their presentation was crap. But the judge just had this attitude at the prosecution. He would yell at him like regularly. And it was very weird. It felt very strange that this judge was so adversarial with the prosecution, literally like every day. There was like some sort of attitude. I'm like, wait, what is that? What? This judge's character was so in question the whole time. Like, this guy was so nutty. Something was just so off about this guy. And, but yeah, he had his thumb on the scale. It happens in politics. It happens in the judicial system. It happens in the economy. You have people who don't break laws in the establishment that just have the power to manipulate things for certain outcomes. And that's what happened here today. Now, there's obviously going to be future Like, this doesn't end. Like, okay, this was just for self-defense, strictly, only, exclusively for self-defense. Kyle Rittenhouse has a world of legal problems down the road with civil cases, you know, ones that will involve reckless endangerment, which was he'll likely be found guilty on that. Wrongful homicide, which carries up to about 60 years in Wisconsin. So he's not out of the woods yet. Yes, this is a big victory. Yes, he won big today. But the wrongful death suits that are coming, I mean, I wouldn't want to be Kyle Rittenhouse. I really wouldn't. But the whole thing about this that is disgusting is the precedent it sets in a really toxic time in America's history. Like, it's so toxic right now in the political sphere. And the precedent has now been set. The legal precedent has been set by this court case that you can interject yourself into a violent situation, make it more violent, and just claim self-defense, and it's totally cool. Very messed up. Very messed up. And here's the other thing. Here's the silver lining, actually. Legal precedent is set for everybody now. Not just the right. The left can do this now, too. Because the legal precedent has been set. So if you want to, like, put these two teams back together, the anti-fascists versus the fascists, an anti-fascist can do what Kyle Rittenhouse did at a Proud Boys gathering. All he has to do is put himself in a position to say the Proud Boys did X, Y, and Z. I opened up on Proud Boys, and therefore I claim self-defense. So it's dangerous all across the board. So I don't care what side you're on. The precedent for everybody has just gotten worse. Because now, anybody and everybody is going to be out provoking violence and then claiming self-defense in the middle of it. This is an insane country. We live in an insane country. None of this is normal. None of it. In a civilized society in the year 2021, like, this is just, we're barbarians. This is total barbaric nonsense. But it's our lives, and it's important. But anyways, what are your thoughts? These are my initial thoughts. I'm sure I'll have more thoughts as I digest them and process them. So let me know your initial thoughts and comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell. I'll meet you down there.